Hey there guys, how's it going? So, as some of you will probably have seen, me and Laura recently did a video where we opened up and played some of the Munchkin CCG. Now, since doing that video, I've joined some of the forums and some of the Facebook groups and talked to people about the game. The groups are actually quite good because a lot of the creators of the game are in the groups, and they're able to talk about some of the decisions. So while in the Facebook groups, I've got into some kind of heated discussions with people about the way things are being done in the Munchkin CCG, and I figured I'd make a video just because it's easier to get my point across, I think, when I'm saying it out loud on camera, rather than just typing it out in a Facebook comment. Now, there are a few things that I have issues with in the way the game's been designed, in the way it plays out, but I'm not going to touch on those today because you can't really fault a CCG for that. Any CCG is going to have some issues with its initial set, and those things are things that can easily be fixed down the road. The things I want to talk about are things that are being done in the way it's being released and tournament structure. So the first thing to mention is the Rarity System. We mentioned in the other video that there are common, uncommon and rare cards, and then above that in Rarity there are X, V and W Rarity cards. Now, the creators of the game have stated that they don't really want people knowing how rare the cards are. They won't tell us what the pull rates of cards above rare are. We know that each pack contains something that is rare or better, but we don't, for example, know how many X rarity cards will be in a box, or how many V rarity cards will be in a box, or how many Ws will be in a box. They have said they're not going to tell us that information. The only thing that they have said is that the Ace of Spades, which is weirdly an X rarity card, is the rarest card in the set. But again, they haven't told us how rare that is. They haven't said whether it's 1 in every 2 boxes, every 3 boxes, every 20 boxes. So there's a couple of reasons that I have an issue with this. One is because when people are going to try and collect a set, having that information is good in knowing roughly how much you're going to have to buy. So for example, you could say, oh, I know that if I get 2 boxes, I'll theoretically have the number of V and W rarity cards to have the set complete, or if I buy 4 boxes, if I buy 6, etc., depending on how much is actually within the set. Or if you said, if I bought 2 boxes, I would theoretically have everything apart from 1 W and 2 Vs, so I could buy those as singles. It's good to know that information, but without knowing how often these cards are going to show up within sealed product, we can't know that, and it's going to stop people taking the jump into buying a lot of sealed product. The second issue with this is that it affects the secondary market. Now, I've seen a lot of people on the Facebook pages, not the creators, but some of the players of the game, who are saying, oh, we don't want this game to have a secondary market, we just want it to be casual. But a CCG needs a secondary market. Any sort of game with randomized product needs a secondary market. If there's no secondary market, it means the game is dead. The only reason there wouldn't be a secondary market is if there was absolutely no demand for singles, and if there's no demand for singles, it's because no one's playing the game. There must be a secondary market of some sort. Now, I understand the criticisms behind secondary markets in the way that they can artificially bump up prices if people do buyouts. It can sometimes make the game more expensive, but it's a necessary evil. You need to have it. The other option is just that you would be having to buy packs for your cards. Like, take Magic, for example. What's worse, saying, oh, I need to buy a set of Snapcaster Mage, but they've gone up to $100 each, or saying, I need a set of Snapcaster Mage, I'd better start buying boxes of Innistrad to see if I can pull them. You're obviously going to buy the singles every time, even though the price inflation can sometimes be bad and not be the ideal scenario. So the way it affects the secondary market is that the market can't regulate as quickly without this information. Because, say for example, we knew that the Ace of Spades, while being the rarest card in the set, still appeared in about 1 in every 4 boxes. People would price it accordingly. But when all we know is it's the rarest card in the set, people can assume whatever they want and they can put the price high. And some people might buy it at a much, much higher price, and then find out it's more common than they thought and be hurt about it because they paid way too much for a card. So I am really hoping they go back on this, and even if they don't do it for this set, for when the next set, the Desolation of Blog, comes out, they are more open and they say to us, okay, in a box you are realistically going to get this many X rarities, this many Vs, this many Ws, and are just way more transparent with it, because it's going to hurt people in the long run if we don't have this kind of information out there. The second big thing I have an issue with is the tournament structure. So I work in a game store, and we received the kit to start running events. We received the promos to give out to people, and we received the fact sheet of how you start running events. And one thing I noticed at the top was it said the point system for events is 3 points for a win, 0 for a draw, and then 1 point for a loss. which if you've played any other TCG, you'll know is backwards. It's normally 1 point for a draw and 0 points for a loss. I even posted it in the group saying, is this a misprint on the sheet? That's how shocked I was that they changed it. And the response came back that no, that's just how they were doing it. The main reason seems to be that they want to reduce IDing. For people who don't know, ID is an intentional draw. It can happen towards the end of tournaments. Say if it's a 6-round tournament and you've got 4 wins, you know that 2 draws would likely put you into the top 8. So if the person you're playing also has 4 wins, you agree to draw. You get the final point that you need. You're both into the top 8 without actually having to play the match. Now, some people dislike the idea of taking intentional draws because it means you're not actually playing out the game. Some people go as far as calling it collusion, and I just want to say, categorically, those people are wrong. In any CCG, collusion is a bannable offence, and IDing is part of the game. You should never be conflating those two terms. They're just completely different. But if the creators wanted to remove intentional drawing from the game, just remove draws from the game. Pokemon had that for the longest time, where at the end of every round, it was who was ahead in terms of games or prizes or something. There was some way in which one player would be declared the winner at the end of the round, sorry. And they should just do that. They should have it so that there are no draws in the game. The other issue I have with this system is that it awards more points for losing a game than for not losing a game. Because there can be unintentional draws in a game where you have draws. But it's saying that if 2 players play the full 50 minutes or an hour or however long it actually was, and it's a really close game and they end up tied up at the end of it, that they have earned less points than the person who sat down and got crushed in 5 minutes. That really doesn't seem right to me. The other option they could always do is 3 points for a win, 0 for a draw, 0 for a loss. That would be a better scenario than this one, because losses should just never be worth more than a draw. The other big issue with this, as was pointed out by someone else who runs big events for, say, Pokemon and Magic and other card games, is that there is currently no tournament software from any game where you can award 3 points to a winner and 1 point to a loser. They all award 3 points to the winner and 0 points to the loser. And Munchkin's not coming out with their own tournament software anytime soon. The guidelines for running events say that you need to pair the first round randomly, and then for future rounds, pair within the points, so people who have similar number of points play against each other, which is how other games are run. But in Munchkin, you have to do it manually. That means that once you get past round 2 or round 3, there's going to be about a 30-minute gap between each round, because you have to not only pair people within the same record, you then have to go back and clarify that they haven't played each other in earlier rounds. And it's just going to take the longest time. It's really going to irritate players, and it's going to be hard for stores to do. The worst part is then after the final round, you have to work out standings. And there are 4 different levels of tiebreakers within Munchkin, which again you have to work out by hand. That means that after the final round is done, there's going to be approximately a 1-hour gap between the final result coming in and standings being posted. That is worse for the players who are coming 9th or 10th on tiebreakers. Because normally, when Swiss rounds is over, they put the pairings up, or they put the standings up. If you haven't made top 8, you go home. Now there's an hour of waiting where you could just find out, oh, I haven't made top 8, this hour was for nothing. It's crazy. There's no way they should be doing that. They either need, if they are going to stick to this point system, which I really hope they don't, they need to get their own tournament software out there right now. Otherwise, no stores are going to want to run tournaments because it's just going to take so long to run, and players are not going to want to play in that sort of event. Most of the events I've been seeing running now are running at about 8 players, 10 players, and that's kind of manageable under this system. You can just get it done, but if you ever start getting into 20 players, 30 players, you're just never going to be able to run a tournament in a realistic one-day setting. For example, the store I work at, there's usually only one of us actually working at the store at any given time, and I know that's true for a lot of other smaller board game stores. So that means you either have to have someone in separately who you're paying to run the Munchkin event, or you have to be trying to do these pairings and tiebreakers in between serving customers. And that's so unrealistic. When we run something like Friday Night Magic, we can say to a customer, oh, can you hold on just for 2 minutes? I just need to print off the new pairings, run them into the back room, and get everyone started. That's fine. But you can't say to a customer, can you wait an hour while I sit here with a calculator and figure out all these tiebreakers? You can't do it. It would make the whole process take even longer. that hour that I said probably exists between the final round and the top 8 going up, that's with no interruptions. If you add customers into that, you may be looking at a 2-hour gap. So for this, I really hope they change the tournament structure, and I really hope they put the points in the way that every other game does it. The creators of the game seem to be running on the philosophy of, oh, we're Munchkin. Munchkin does stuff different. Munchkin's funny. And that works within the game. Sometimes the game rules are a bit different, that can work, but when you're wanting to run organized play tournaments, that's not the place to be trying to screw around with stuff like this, because there's a reason that everyone else does it the same way, and it's just not going to work. Stores aren't going to be able to realistically do it. And worth noting, most of the people who are in favor of all the stuff Munchkin is doing are Munchkin fans rather than CCG fans. Most of the other people who I've spoken to who regularly play in or run these events for trading card games are dead against them. They don't want to be spending all this time running tournaments this way. So I just really hope that the designers of the game realize how different a CCG is to their normal product that they're releasing, and realize that they kind of have to have different priorities when they're trying to get trading card games out there, especially if it's one where they're wanting to run large official tournaments, as they've said that they are hoping to do at some point. So hopefully this didn't come across just as me having a rant. I really want it to be seen as constructive criticism and something that people take on board. And for any CCG, I think issues like this are important. Hopefully some of you agree with me. If you do, let me know, or let me know if you disagree with me. I'm happy to go back and forth and stuff. I'm happy to have more of a discussion and clarify some of my points if I didn't make them clear enough to you. But I will just end on saying that I do like the Munchkin CCG. The jokes are funny, the artwork's funny, and the gameplay is good. I like the gameplay. There are a few errors in it which can be sorted, but I do overall like the game. That is why I'm doing this. I wouldn't go to this effort to try and explain this stuff if it was a game that I just thought was rubbish and was going to die anyway. This is a game that I would actually like to see survive and keep going. So, whether you agree with me or not, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
Thanks for watching. Check out some more videos right here.
And don't forget to subscribe for more awesome Pokemon content from DJ Gigabyte.
Gotta catch 'em all!